Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a wild medical cold case that literally went unsolved for half a century. We're talking about some serious genetic detective work that recently led to a massive breakthrough. It's completely changing the way we understand human blood and, honestly, how we save lives.
So let me ask you a pretty simple question. Do you actually know your blood type? You might be sitting there thinking, yeah, for sure, I'm A positive or I'm O negative. And hey, that's great. But what you think you know about your blood is probably just a tiny fraction of the whole story. There's an entire microscopic universe flowing through your veins right now that most of us never even give a second thought to.
Part 1. Beyond A, B, and O. The hidden complexity of blood.
We're all pretty used to these basic categories from high school biology, right? Type A, B, AB, O, and whether you've got that positive or negative Rh factor. Most of us just assume this short little list is the whole shebang when it comes to human blood diversity. We kind of just think, as long as the hospital matches up these letters and that plus or minus sign, we're totally good to go. Well, that idea completely goes out the window when you realize this: 360. Scientists have actually identified 47 distinct blood group systems that contain over 360 known blood antigens. So your blood type isn't just a couple of letters. It's actually this massive, highly complex barcode made up of literally hundreds of different markers.
So why do all these hundreds of markers matter so much? It all comes down to antigens. An antigen is basically just a molecule sitting on the surface of your red blood cells. You can think of them like microscopic little ID tags. If you get a blood transfusion and the donor blood has different ID tags than your body is used to, well, your immune system might just sound the alarm. Even tiny differences between donor and recipient antigens can trigger severe, sometimes life-threatening immune reactions. It's the absolute deciding factor in whether a transfusion saves a life or triggers a dangerous response.
Part 2. The 50-year blood mystery. The hunt for AnWj.
Now let's meet our main suspect in this medical anomaly. The AnWj antigen is an incredibly rare blood marker. It was first identified way back in 1972. And that kind of unusual name, AnWj, it actually comes directly from the very first patients who were found to produce an antibody against it. Two people named Anton and WJ. The really crazy thing here is that scientists knew this marker existed. Under a microscope in 1972, they could actually see the antigen. They knew Anton and Waj had antibodies reacting to it. But from the 1970s all the way into the 2020s, for 50 long years, researchers hit an agonizing dead end. They could literally see the marker, but they absolutely could not trace the responsible gene in human DNA. It wasn't until just recently that international researchers from the UK and Israel finally cracked this case. Seriously, imagine the frustration. For 5 decades, this one question just haunted geneticists. We can see the antigen, it's right there, but which gene is actually creating it? It's kind of like finding this weird, mysterious building in the middle of your city, but having absolutely no idea who the architect is or where the blueprints are hidden.
Part 3. Cracking the genetic code. The forensic power of DNA.
To finally track down the culprit, the team had to deploy a seriously high-tech forensic tool, one that definitely didn't exist back in 1972. It's called whole exome sequencing. Instead of just looking at the blood cells themselves, this advanced technique analyzes all the protein-coding regions of a person's DNA. It basically systematically scans the entire genome to hunt down these tiny, hidden mutations.
And when they scanned the DNA of people who lacked this rare blood marker, bingo, they finally had their answer. For AnWj positive individuals, which is, the vast majority of us, they express a full-length protein called MAL on their red blood cells. But the AnWj negative individuals? The sequencing revealed that they have inherited deletions in both copies of their MAL gene. They are literally missing the genetic code required to make this protein at all.
So what does this missing MAL protein actually do? Well, it's a small membrane protein, but it has a massive job. It plays a vital role in keeping the cell membrane stable, and it's absolutely crucial for cellular transport. When someone is missing the MAL gene, they don't produce this protein, which means they are missing the AnWj antigen on their blood cells entirely. After 50 years, that missing architectural blueprint was finally found. Part 4. The future of transfusions, global patient safety. Because of this incredible detective work, a completely new blood group system called MAL has been officially recognized. This is a monumental scientific triumph. led by NHS Blood and Transplant, along with the University of Bristol and international partners. This huge discovery was just published in the journal Blood. I mean, they literally had to rewrite the medical textbooks to add a brand new blood group system to the list.
But what is the actual real-world impact here? This isn't just fun scientific trivia, right? It's a vital, life-saving tool. By finally identifying the MEL gene, we officially end a 50-year search. And more importantly, we can now create highly accurate genetic screening for people with this extremely rare blood type. If an AnWj negative person needs blood, doctors can now pinpoint exact compatible donors. This prevents severe immune reactions and makes global blood transfusions definitively safer for the most vulnerable patients out there. It's just an incredible victory for science and for patient care. But it also leaves us with a pretty profound thought to end on. If a single blood marker, something visible under a microscope, could hide its genetic roots from the world's best scientists for 50 years, what other life-saving secrets are still hiding in the uncharted vastness of the human body, just waiting to be discovered? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this sparked your curiosity just as much as it did mine.